just giving some more tips. I know y'all look real fly today, but we want to give you some tips on how to present yourself in various rooms. So, we are almost to lunch. I know y'all hungry. So talk to us, give some feedback. When I'm asking questions, feel free to talk back and pay attention. This might be something where we give away prizes at the end. It might be a pop quiz. You just have to pay attention and see where we go. So, what is your brand? So a personal brand is how you present yourself and network yourself to a specific audience, right? So although everyone has your unique qualities that make you different, your personal brand is how you discover and elevate and market those qualities to everyone else, right? So I'm gonna ask some of these questions and y'all shout out some answers. So which areas do you do well in?
Math.
That's a good one. So, science.
Got some software developers to go.
Language arts. Okay, PE. Recess. That's also good too. History. I love that. Okay, and what motivates you? Your mom. YouTubers. Money. Money's always a good motivator. And then what characteristics have others complimented you on?
Energy. I love energy.
Positivity. That's a really good one. Yes,
You got it.
bringing peace to the world. I love that. Okay, and what roles seem to drain you? What's something you absolutely just don't like doing? Negativity, school, math, babysitting, English, not the It's not mine either. Okay, and then which projects can you spend hours on without being tired or overwhelmed? Gaming, something hands-on? Okay, awesome. So when you are creating and developing your brand, these are the questions that you want to consider, right? You don't want to brand yourself around something you don't want doing, right? So for instance, if math is not your thing, you don't want to create a brand or a personal brand around something that you may struggle with or may need like constant help with all the time. Not saying that you won't need help with your brand, but something specific and tangible, you want to be able to develop your career and your career path, right? So, building your brand. So these are the steps it takes to kind of mold your brand. So determine what makes you specifically unique, right? And then being able to develop a message or communication around that. And we'll talk about elevator pitches and elevator speeches here in a second. And then finding your audience. Research who is good at math. Let's stick with math. Research who's the leading or top person in that industry. Researching what they do well, what they can possibly do better. Research the companies or the people who aren't doing so well. What are they doing wrong? And what could you do to fix their problem? Also, build a network. There are so many people here, mentors, there's companies. Create connections with so many people today. You have that opportunity. That's what they are here for, right? Yes, you had time to network earlier, but get someone's business card, take it home. You might not need it for another year or so, but take it. And then also, be able to reinvent and readjust your brand. Your brand should be flexible, right? And as you grow and you develop, your brand will as well. And then lastly, embody your brand. Your character and your reputation is very important. It follows you, and it's in rooms that you are not in. So make sure that you are who you say you are. Put your money where your mouth is, talk it like you talk it, however you want to say it, but make sure that you are the embodiment of that. So when we're talking about communication, we're talking about elevator pitches. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of an elevator pitch. Okay, awesome. I see quite a few hands. So let's say it's a bright sunny day in Oklahoma. You get to a corporate building and you step inside the elevator and there's someone in that elevator that has the hiring power or position or opportunity that would be perfect for you, right? So what are you gonna do? So elevator pitch is about 30 to 60 seconds. It talks about what you do, who you are, what makes you unique, and how you would fix a problem, right? And then also at the end, there's always a call to action or something that allows that person to follow up with you. So we are going to give you 3 examples of an elevator pitch.
We have a guest elevator pitcher.
Y'all give it up for him.
Give it, clap him up, clap him up. Yes, we'll let you go first.
All right. I just learned what the elevator pitch was this morning. My name is Keelan Knox. I am currently a student here at Rose State College. I study cybersecurity. I'm passionate about IT and technology. I'm passionate also about STEM leadership. I'm looking for a job or employer that can actually challenge me in self-development, personal growth, as well as allow me to develop my leadership skills. I'm open to any conversation if you guys are willing to actually, for hiring and so forth.
Great job.
Good morning, or is it afternoon? Good morning. My name is Courtney McClain. I am the local partnership strategist with Campus Tulsa under the George Kaiser Foundation. It's good to be in front of you all. Because you're focused on education, I want you should be interested in that at least 40% of Black and brown students have a broadband issue or a Wi-Fi issue at their homes. So with this, the problem is a lack of accessibility to STEM-related industries. So because Black and brown students end up not having accessibility to broadband or Wi-Fi when they get home, they're not interested in computer programming most of the time. They're not interested in STEM-related industries. So then you go to college, you're continuously not being interested, and then you end up graduating with a degree that makes less money. How to fix this? The George Kaiser Foundation in Campus Tulsa is focusing on creating pipelines with K through 12 students, focusing on marginalized groups of students where that broadband, those Wi-Fi issues are a little bit dismantled, because now we can access the students early in age, where now you can have the resources to these Wi-Fi and these STEM-related industries. And so, we're like the only ones really doing that and sustaining that relationship in Oklahoma. So if you have time, I'd like to sit down with you and continue the conversation. Thank you.
Yes, I'll introduce myself, but let's say I'm in an elevator at a Chamber of Commerce event with a potential Paycom partner that wants to meet for coffee. So in the elevator, I'll say, oh, hi, my name is Ariel Dismuke. I am a diversity and inclusion strategy partner for Paycom. I recently started here at Paycom about 6 months ago, but my past career was in higher education. Overall, my driving force is helping students get access to anything that they may be lacking. So underrepresented communities getting access to education, career opportunities, food, anything that may be lacking kind of drives me. I'm also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, where I dedicate my life to a service to all mankind. So if there's any opportunity where we can sit and have a coffee after this presentation, I would love to just exchange information and connect at a later date.
My name is Gigi Jones, and I'm a talent acquisition strategy partner for diversity and inclusion at Paycom. I've been in diversity, equity, and inclusion work for the last 8 years in higher education, and now I do this at Paycom, but I've always had a passion for advocating, educating, and celebrating marginalized communities, specifically adult learners, which is why I received a Master's of Education in Adult and Higher Education with a certification in Program Management. So I believe that my purpose is to enrich organizations by providing opportunities for diverse communities to learn, thrive, and succeed. And I do this at Paycom by building pipelines that not only diversify our talent pipeline, but enrich our organizations, clients, and services by bringing those marginalized communities in. Would your organization have time next week to discuss its structure and how Paycom could be a potential partner? Okay. So when you're giving the elevator speech, you want to be mindful of your communication. We were talking about this earlier, someone said it, like your body language, right? Eye contact, your confidence. This is Antoine, he's one of our recruiters in our Grapevine office, and he just embodies that, right? Being confident, Your energy should take over the room. Someone said energy earlier. Your energy should take over the room or the elevator or wherever you are, right? Your tone, your handshake should be strong and firm, and then your body language. You don't want to really slouch. Your communication, your body language should be engaging and present. And then read the room, right? You don't want to stop the CEO as they're on their way to the bathroom, okay? That would be very awkward. So make sure that you are taking those things in consideration. And then context matters. The same pitch you give to your coach because you're a bench warmer is not the same pitch you probably give to your CEO, right? Make sure that you are aware of what your goal is, what you want from this conversation, and make sure that you always leave an open invitation to circle back. Okay, resume. So everyone who said no, that they don't have one, pay attention, take notes on your phones or write it down. This is where you start. So your resume is literally a bragging sheet. It's telling us or telling someone who has that hiring power who you are, what you've done, and why you would be an excellent fit, right? So it should always have a header, your name. You will be very surprised how many people actually forget their name on their resume. Your education, any work experience that you have, even if you babysat for a company, put that on there. People like to know that they can trust. Your skills are transferable, like they do translate to other industries. Make sure that you're putting it on there, especially if it's relevant. And then any projects, big projects that you're working on in school or in the community, make sure that you're highlighting those. Any skills that you might have, leadership organizations, is anybody involved in anything? Any organizations at their campus? Anybody clubs? Nobody play sports? Okay, sports, okay, perfect, yes. Put that on there. If you got athlete of the week, athlete of the month, if you got a special award for your position, put that on there. Any certifications as well. You see how I highlighted mine? Make sure that you list those things. And if you aren't involved, get involved. Volunteer. If your church is having a MLK oratory program, see if you can be a part of it. If not behind the podium, see if you can run things backstage, right? Get out there. There's various opportunities to volunteer in the OK area. And also resume tips. So please don't put cursive or any extra font other than Times New Romans, Calibri on your resume. It's not the time to be super fancy. Just stay consistent, something basic and simple. Your resume should be about 1 to 2 pages and use it in appropriate email, okay? Big Step at 34 is not a good email to use. And also a current phone number, right? If you know that your phone always on do not disturb, if you know that your phone always dead, like mine, make sure that you don't use that specific number. Let them know the best way to contact you. Also, set up a voicemail. I bet about 10, 20 of y'all don't even have a voicemail set up. So people trying to call y'all, look, check in here. People trying to call y'all for a job and they can't even leave a message. Not you answering the phone, but they can't even leave a message. So make sure that you have those things ready. And honesty is key. I'll say it again. Do not lie on your resume, okay? They check that. When they're doing those verifications, they check your history, like where you've worked before and stuff, as well as your title. If you are not a NASA scientist, do not put it on your resume, okay?
All right, we're gonna talk about social media and screenshots. So who in here has a Instagram account? Who out of that few have an Insta in their Instagram? Y'all still do that? The big Instagram? No? Okay, who has TikTok? I'm on TikTok heavy. TikTok? Facebook? Okay, we have someone here. So I love social media. I am on social media heavy. And social media is a good thing. It is not a bad thing, but it can be bad if you do not utilize it the proper way. So we're gonna talk a little bit about how to use social media to your benefit. Just things to think about because I see a lot of stuff on the TikToks and it's a cause for error. So this is a screenshot right here. Username 12345. This is kind of how the old quote tweets used to look. But they said, this is a fictional company by the way. It says, LOL, my job sucks too. I worked at this place called Fake Company, Bo Loco on Newberry Street. And Bo Loco CEO said, not anymore. They got fired on Twitter. How embarrassing is that? So in this example, we'll talk a little bit about talking negatively about your employer or positively, and just kind of how these things can come back and haunt you, because you don't want to lose your job over a tweet, over a TikTok, over an Instagram post. So we're going to get into that. All right, some do's and don'ts about social media. Learn about privacy settings. How many of y'all have close friends? You know, the green circle on the weekends that pop up? So we have close friends. Do understand close friends is not private. Close friends is a select group of people, but anything that you put on close friends, I do a thing, I'm guilty of this, where you screen record and you screenshot, and then that gets passed around even after you deleted it. So be aware of those privacy settings if you don't want, just from a safety perspective, if you don't want everybody seeing, you know, your mom's picture, your brother's picture, your friend's picture. Of course you can do a private Instagram, but private does not mean secret. So know about those privacy settings. If you're trying to be an influencer, have it on public, of course, but just be mindful of who can see your information. Make sure your profile is employer friendly. When you are on the social media, do not have pictures that may be embarrassing or portray your brand or your character in a light that you are not proud of. Or if your mom saw it, she would be like, now why would you post that? So when employers see that, it's even a little bit more harmful, because we would see that as a risk to our company, because you know we work for Paycom. I'm here representing Paycom. If I was doing something on social media, that's going to get sent back over to my boss over there, and then my job would be at risk. So make sure that your profile, whatever you're portraying, is employer friendly. Check your company's social media policy. I'm gonna pause on this one because I want y'all to understand that companies have social media policies. And I'm talking about every company. McDonald's, In-N-Out Burger, UPS, all those brands. Companies have social media policies. Depending on how strict or not they may be, is up for you to read. Again, I'm on TikTok heavy. There was a major tech company, not ours, but a competitor. There was a major tech company that they brought their daughter to work, and their daughter posted a picture from inside the cafeteria on social media, like, oh my gosh, this is a cool cafeteria, and her dad got fired because they were not allowed to post inside the walls on campus. So you want to make sure that when you are working for an employer, that you are aware of what you are allowed to do and allowed to post. If you're posting during work hours, you can get fired for that. If you are wearing, let's say I have this shirt on, it has Paycom, because we are a proud sponsor of this event, on here, and I decide to go in my car and go off about somebody. I can get fired for that, because in this moment, I am representing Paycom, even if I'm not even talking about Paycom. Somebody on, again, TikTok, I saw that a few weeks ago. He had his employer shirt on, talked about something completely irrelevant to work, and then the next TikTok was, I got fired over TikTok, because he was wearing his company's brand. And also understand that your brand still extends when you're not wearing your uniform. So even if I'm in the street and doing something I have no business doing, that can still trace back to me, because something would be like, ain't that Paycom girl? Isn't that her? And that's when they send again to my boss. So just be mindful of that. Use social media to network. So while you're here mixing mingling in the room, you can utilize that. There's nothing wrong with asking somebody, hey, we're gonna talk about LinkedIn, what's your Instagram? What's something that I can connect with you with? You utilize that to your advantage. Some don'ts. We talked a little bit about not relying on privacy settings. Screenshots last forever. Screen recordings last forever. If you don't want it out there, just don't post it. I know TikToks can be real quick. You like really quick thinking, I wanna post this, but the moment somebody saves that to their device, or screenshots and screen records, long after you've deleted it, we've seen it plenty of times before, where people are losing their scholarships, whether it's an athletic scholarship, an academic scholarship, brand partnerships. We've seen that a lot in the industry lately, in a lot of different industries rather, where people are losing partnerships behind old tweets and old things they post. So before you post on there, make sure that it's something that you can stand behind. Don't badmouth previous and current employers. If I see on your Twitter that you were talking about your last employer because they didn't give you the day off and you're adding them, I would see that as a risk and say, I can't even have that risk. I can't even take that chance to have them on our team and represent our company. So keep those things in mind. And lastly, don't post anything illegal. Better yet, don't do anything illegal. I actually have a sorority sister, I'm from Texas, in Dallas, and she is a criminal prosecutor for Dallas County. When I tell you they will use your social media in court, anything that you post is evidence. So don't do anything illegal, and definitely don't post it, because again, from a work standpoint and a legal standpoint, it can come back. We talked about building your social network. Who in here knows about LinkedIn? A few hands. So what I want y'all to do is download the LinkedIn app sometime next week. I'm gonna give you the weekend to think about it. download the LinkedIn app and start building out your resume on there. LinkedIn is a professional networking where that's actually how I got my job at Paycom. I found Paycom on LinkedIn, and I had my professional resume pretty much typed out on there. And I have connected with professionals not just in Paycom, I've connected with professionals that I recently met that I connected with maybe 3 years ago and got to know them. So this is kind of your professional resume where you can meet people and you don't need a professional headshot. I know some organizations will do them for like $2. Get yourself a nice portrait mode on your phone, stand behind a nice background, and just have a nice portrayed image of yourself.
And we're
Build out your
doing
resume.
and we're doing headshots today, so y'all really don't have no excuse not to get your picture taken.
Go get your headshot, because I'm gonna tell y'all, in the adult world, they cost about $300. So get them for free while you can, or go ahead and use that portrait mode on your phone. I know it's expensive being an adult. Be visible, build connections, and maintain an online reputation. Once y'all get to your career fair and you start going, you're gonna see this app called Handshake, and that's where you're gonna check in. And so our recruiters, like y'all saw Antoine, he goes on there and he can see your profile, see what you're doing in school, your major, your GPA, your organizations. That's the way that recruiters will find you for these internships. And what better way to get a job than somebody finding you? And then Indeed is also another job platform that you can use. All right, our last thing we're going to touch on is dressing for success. And I've heard this repeated a lot today about how you dress and how you appear. And so I want also to make this point, when we are talking about dressing for success, this is in no way to detract from your individuality, no way to detract from your culture. I am a proud Black woman and I love to express that. But there are also certain times and places where I have to change how I may dress. So we're going to get a little bit into that as we talked about business professional, business casual, and things like that. So business professional, the Jenks Club, they really wore something that's more business professional. On the left, y'all can see there, my fella has on a coat, a slap, he has on nice dress shoes, a tie, he adds some flair with a lapel pin. In the middle, you'll see some socks. I've seen a lot of men do this, where they add a little bit of flair to their outfit. They'll add some colorful socks, so when you're walking by, I'm like, man, those are some nice socks. Just a way to add some personality. You can wear a watch for a little razzle dazzle. You don't have to go out and buy a Rolex. You can go to Walmart and get a $15 watch just to have on your wrist. And then on the right-hand side, we have someone wearing a vest. So he doesn't necessarily have on a tie, but that is a way that you can still kind of dress up your look. But the biggest things from here is you want to make sure you have on a coat and tie. That'll be more appropriate for settings like a job interview. So when you get the call from Paycom saying, hey, we want to bring you in for an interview, this is something what you want to wear. Even though we don't dress like this in the office, you can never be too formal for your interview. Now don't bust out the prom blazer and like sparkle dazzle shoes, don't bring that to the interview, but you can still err on the more formal side of your job interview. Funny story, my first job was McDonald's, and I showed up in a suit at McDonald's. And it was a little out of place, but again, you can never be too formal. Business and smart casual. So I see a lot of business and smart casual. Our great MC kind of has a great demonstration of that when he has on a sport coat, but no tie. It's a little bit more relaxed, but it still has a little professional flair. So that's what my friend right here on the left has. At Paycom, we are more on the business casual, smart casual. We can also wear jeans and a t-shirt if we want. And I'll talk about this in the middle. So my friend here has on a cardigan, a button-down shirt. He has on jeans, but notice that the jeans are like neat, they're ironed, they don't have holes, they don't have frays. I love my whole jeans and my frays, but I keep those for the weekend, not the workplace. He has on some nice clean sneakers and his glasses. So you'll see that mostly around the offices. A lot of companies are moving towards this. Or you can throw on a polo, a belt, some slacks, and some nice shoes. If you can see it, he has on some nice socks too, for a little flair. So this is gonna be more so your less formal of office wear. And of course, this is gonna vary different in different industries. If you're working in construction, like I have a friend who's an engineer, works in construction, he doesn't dress like this to work. He wears a vest, but he's a whole engineer. So just be mindful of that. And again, when it comes to policies, check your company's dress code policy. We'll talk about that in just 1 second when it comes to hair. So y'all know Jalen Rose with his haircuts. They are impeccable. It's like geometry on his head. You don't have to have a fade to work in corporate. You do not have to have a fade. I love seeing the range of hairstyles. My hair changes month to month, sometimes myself. And in the Black culture, I know that our hair is our pride. We take pride in our crown, and we don't want to ever say that you cannot express yourself or express your culture with your hair. But there's some things to consider. Oh no, Beckham, he has the curls out. He has the blonde tips. He has a nice little fade, kind of cleaning it up, but you can still wear your curls. Just grab a little Shea Moisture, rub it on there. I typically wear my hair curly, and so you can wear your curls out, or if you have locks. I love seeing locks. Get a fresh retwist before that interview. Even if it's not like a real retwist, just twist it up really quick. Just want to clean it up a little bit before you go into your interview or these career fairs. On the bottom, I'm gonna talk about cologne. Who in here has a bottle of cologne at home that they wear? Cologne. Do not bathe in that before the interview. Okay? The last thing you want to do when you come to a career fair, come to our table, is make my eyes, I have bad allergies, is make my eyes water. A spritz or two on the neck and on the wrist, I promise you we can smell it. Oh, I am so sorry. I excluded if you want to be, if you choose not to have hair, whether it's by choice or not, you can also be bald at work. If you're expressive, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. You're welcome. But when it comes to cologne, the last thing you want to do is make your interviewer or the recruiter make their eyes water because you don't put too much cologne. I promise you, we can smell you with about 3 little dabs. That'll be totally fine. If nothing else, we want you to remember to always bring your first day energy. My first day of work, my first day of school, my first day of anything. Even when I go to like the Japanese, I'm ready, I'm excited. I have my clothes laid out. I got my hair in rollers. If you wear rollers, then you understand. Even if you don't, I always am gonna bring my best self when I am going into a job interview. And it never hurts to constantly have that first day energy because you never know who is in the room. Who has been to Walgreens making a quick run or anywhere and you run into somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they saw me today. I see one or two, okay, maybe it's just me. But you know, if I wasn't on, if you're not always on or in public, you want to make sure that the image that you're presenting out to everyone and out to your colleagues or your peers is something that you're proud of. So always, always, always bring your first day energy, get that iron out, get that steamer out, or throw it in the dryer. Sometimes I hate ironing. Bring that energy out wherever you go. If nothing else that you remember, whether that's your personal brand, on the appearance, your resume, or your social media platform. So, we have a quiz.
Y'all thought I was playing. We got to give away some prizes. So Haley back there, our intern, is with us here today. Haley, say hey. So we have some projectors we're gonna give away. We also have some eye massagers that are like heaven. So we're gonna give those away after our pop quiz. So I'm gonna ask a question. I want hands. Don't shout out the answer. I want hands. And if you get it right, you'll get to choose. Do you want the projector or the eye massager? Very difficult decision. So look at those beautiful boxes. You only get to get one prize prize. Look. Okay. Mentors cannot participate. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. So my first question. Raise your hand if you took notes. Let me see them. Raise your hand if you took notes. Let me see them. Oh, did you?
I think that counts.
Okay. I'll let that slide. He said her. I'll let that slide. I'll let that slide. Go ahead. Okay, you gotta choose them.
I'm not promoting. Congratulations.
So my next question. Name three parts of a resume.
Blue collar.
Always be honest and
I'll let you have it.
He said name, important details like phone number, and being honest.
You got two more questions.
All right, 2 more questions. When you are going for an interview and you are dressing in your business professional attire, what are 1 or 2 things that you have to have on? Ooh, a tie. Yeah, that's the answer. Sorry, that's the answer. And the other thing would be a blazer. And the last question. There's 2 possible answers to this one as well. When you are working or about to take on a job, what blank policy should you check?
The boy in blue.
Social media policy. All right. And the other one, of course, would be your dress code policy. So we can take just a few questions. Yeah, we have about 3 minutes. We can take a few questions. If anyone have any questions about our presentation, anything that we covered at all, we have a question in the back. If you can stand when we got the mic coming. I want everybody to be able to hear the question. And then if you can introduce yourself, just say your name, where you're from, and then your question, please.
My name is Pharaoh Grant, and I'm from Oklahoma City. My question is, do we have to act professionally to get the job?
That's a great question. Acting professionally to get a job. So there's a thing called professional etiquette, and that'll differ based on the industry. There's ways that you can clean it up, there's ways that you can be a little bit more casual. Kind of like what Ms. Gigi said, and I'll let her answer this as well. How you approach your coach is not how you would probably approach me or one of the recruiters. You still want to be unique in who you are, but you want to make sure that the way that you are speaking is appropriate to the setting that you're in. So if I'm going to go ask for a letter of recommendation, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I need a letter of recommendation. True story, my students usually come up to me like that. Go up to yourself, say, hi, my name is Pharaoh from Oklahoma City. I am looking for a career at Paycom. Professionalism will kind of just vary based on the industry, but you can always bring like a formality depending on the setting. And I'll let Gigi answer as well.
And also consider what you want to be known for. So when we're talking about personal brand, what do you want others to say about you? Do you want them to think that like you're super goofy, never focused? Okay, making a face. Or do you want them to know that you are focused, you're determined, you're motivated, and you get it done? That is important, especially to your brand. Like I said, your reputation and your character are very important, especially when you're looking for a career, a scholarship, and an opportunity. Your name is in rooms sometimes that you're not even in. So make sure that you are considering those things when you are looking for those opportunities.
And you can still be yourself, but how I act after work, I may be a lot less formal than what I would do. I'm working on a project with Ms. Jones.
When 5 o'clock hit.
Yeah, 5:01, it's a different time. Any other questions? We got one more. Again, if you can say your name and where you're from, school.
Yes, Desmond X. I'm a senior at Oklahoma University. Your last note brought me to, could you briefly touch over code switching?
You want me to start? So code switching is a hot topic. It's one of those things that gets real sticky sometimes because I'll say for me, when I am at work, again, kind of what Ms. Gigi Jones was saying is, what do you want to be known for in the room? So we have, for instance, we have one of our leaders in the room, one of our executive leaders. And so when I'm talking to her, I'm not going to talk to her kind of how I would talk to my colleague and my peer. When I'm talking to Gigi, I can say, girl, can you believe that? But if I'm talking to an executive person, or if I'm talking to my senior manager or my team lead, I probably polish it up a little bit. I may still say the same thing, just saying it a little bit differently. So if I didn't like something, perhaps I may focus on my body language and making sure that I'm not slouched and visibly upset. But I may say, I actually had a problem with something that was said in that meeting and I'd like to discuss further. Same message, but differently. Code switching is not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not, I'll just be honest, it's not something that I heard a lot growing up, like, oh, you're talking white, or you're talking proper. That's not what code switching is. It's just changing up how you communicate depending on the setting.
We want to encourage you to be this, key word in the DEI realm called your authentic self. We want to encourage you to be you, 1000%. Same with the gentleman over here that asked a question about being professional. It is a delicate dance. You should always be true to yourself, always show up and show out to who you are, right? No matter the environment, but understand that people have certain perceptions of you. So when it comes to code switching, just making sure that you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and know that you did not get fired today because of whatever reason, right? So make sure that you stay true to who you are. And your brand, make sure that you continue to develop it. If something's not working, make sure that you critique those things and fix those things, especially when you are looking for a different opportunity.
You'll learn about, like, as you grow, you'll learn a little bit more about like, emotional intelligence and kind of that reading the room, like what Ms. Jones said, where you'll learn to kind of switch it up depending on the setting. Okay, one more question and then we'll pass it back. Any other questions? Oh, one more question.
Making me walk to
Get your steps in.
Some hot topics.
Hello, my name is William McKinney, and I am from the University of Central Oklahoma. And my question is, are references important when filling out job applications?
So employers do check references, and if you don't know what a reference is, that's somebody who can essentially back your character. So sometimes you'll list that on your resume, sometimes you have it on a separate sheet. Usually, like once you go through the interview process, they are gonna call and say, I see this, again, on your resume, I see this person was a NASA scientist at Oklahoma City Public Schools. Can you vouch for this person? And that's where when Ms. Jones said, you know, sometimes your name is being spoken in rooms where you don't even realize. This is where your character reputation comes in. So your reference needs to be somebody, don't put your aunt down or your sister. Find a community person, that mentor that you seek out that can speak to you outside of a familial relationship. So if you have a teacher, make sure you have good relationships with your teacher, because when you start applying for scholarships, they're gonna ask for recommendation letters or references, and that is something that somebody is saying, I put my stamp of approval or not. I have seen where people say, I would not refer them to this job. And they miss out on an opportunity. So they are important to have. Go ahead and start getting those connections with your teachers and your community leaders, so that way when it comes time for you to have a job or an opportunity for scholarship, you can put them confidently down as somebody who has your back.
If you have the opportunity right now to talk to about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in this room who could be those references for you, right? So make sure that you are making and building those connections, like Ariel said. Like, it's important, they do check normally right before they offer you the job, after you've gone through your interviews, they check your references. You wanna list people not only who have your back, but are mentors who can speak to what you've done. And also look for people who are in your career field, right? I know for my references personally, I have about 3 or 4 mentors who hold titles at various companies and organizations who do this work. Another thing I would also say is when you're going into an interview, you are interviewing them too, right? You are interviewing them too. So make sure that you're asking the questions that you need to know in order to accept the position in the offer, okay?
All right, thank you all so much for taking the time. I know we are standing between us and our keynote speaker, who is also from Paycom. So thank you all for this opportunity. We'll be in the back if you have any further questions, but we will hand it back over.